Hey everyone, Andy Rafael from eTeknix.com, and I've had a lot of questions recently about builds primarily based around £1,000 or $1,100. So that's exactly what we've got here for you today. Let's take a look. So I've had a lot of messages recently on either Twitter, Facebook, and a variety of different social media platforms of people asking for builds based around £1,000, $1,000, give or take sort of £100, $100. So what we've actually got here is a whole host of components that we're going to build up and sort of see how it performs in some of the latest titles. So starting with the processor, we've gone with the Ryzen 5 3600X. I haven't actually even benchmarked this myself yet, we've only just got it in, but it should be a good candidate. It has 6 cores and 12 threads and operates at 3.8 GHz. It has a max boost clock of 4.4 GHz and comes with the Wraith Spire cooler that we're going to be putting into this build along with the CPU. To try and keep the cost down, we have gone with the B450F gaming motherboard from Asus. With a simple BIOS update, it will accept the new 3rd generation Ryzen processors. It does also give us a little bit of room for kind of future expandability if you want to go down that route at a later date. Coupled up with the motherboard and the processor, we've gone with the Team Group memory. So this is actually their Nighthawk RGB. You've probably seen me use this in quite a few different builds, purely because it looks absolutely amazing. It is fully Aura Sync compatible to go with our motherboard, and it operates at speeds of 3000 MHz. It's a 16 gig kit across 2 8 gig modules. Now yes, Ryzen 3rd Gen does love memory sort of speed more than anything, but I think the 3000 MHz kit is going to be kind of a good middle ground for, I guess, the processor and also the support on the B450 motherboard. For storage, we've actually gone with 2 different drives. One being the WD Blue 250GB M.2 drive. It's not NVMe, but it still does kind of give us the maximum speeds that we can sort of find on a Sata based interface, and it does help clean things up a little bit in terms of the cable management. And when comparing that against the 2.5 inch drive, you will actually find that they do kind of hold quite a similar price to each other. So personally, just for the cable management aspect, I'd rather go with the M.2 drive. Obviously, when it does come to gaming, the 250 gig kind of OS drive isn't really going to cut it. So we've added in the WD Blue 1TB drive. This is going to be perfect for a handful of games. But of course, if you wanted to add more budget into this build, then you could go for maybe something a little bit faster and of a higher capacity. Or you could just at a later date add another 1TB drive. You could even RAID them if you decided to go down that route. For graphics, of course, best kind of value for money at the moment, we've decided to go with the 5700 XT. This is the AMD reference model, which does obviously have that really kind of funky, I guess, cooler on it. Some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it, but I honestly think it looks really, really nice, and you're not really going to find better value for money. Of course, again, if you did want to go slightly sort of more on the budget, then you could maybe go up to, say, an RTX 2060 if you can still find one, or an RTX 2060 Super. But I'm kind of feeling the whole AMD thing going on here with the processor and also the graphics card. Now, when it comes to the case, we wanted something that kind of matched up quite nicely with, I guess, the price point that we're trying to hit. And that's where the Thermaltake V200 RGB comes in. They do kind of 2 different versions of this. You've got the non-RGB version and then the RGB version. Basically with this, we have tempered glass, we have 3 120mm RGB fans at the front, and on a slight little twist, if you buy this from Scan Computers, if you are based in the UK, you can actually get this case and save yourself about £15 by getting it included with a 550 watt power supply. So yes, you can buy the chassis separately, but Scan Computers are actually doing a promotion at the moment with Thermaltake where you get the case and the power supply for a set price. Now, speaking of pricing, obviously we have put up pricing in this video for all of this stuff, but collectively we are looking at just over £1,000 in the UK for all of this stuff. Obviously, if you don't want to buy from Scan Computer, it's going to cost you another 15 quid to get the chassis and the power supply separately. Or if you are in the US, you're going to be looking at around $1,100 plus taxes and shipping. So yeah, what I'm really hoping for is to build this, everything go kind of without a hitch. Let's jump in and start building. Okay, so first game up is World War Z. So we're running DirectX 11. For some reason, you have to run it in borderless mode. It's just a bit of a weird thing with World War Z. Hopefully it gets patched. 1440p, and then when we look at the kind of quality settings, we are set to Ultra. Haven't really changed anything. Straight out of the box, this is kind of what it, I guess, suggested for the 5700 XT. So everything is set to Ultra. So let's get into a game. So frame rate wise, we're getting around 120. Obviously it is minimizing to, or giving us a minimum of like 103. But yeah, decent frame rates overall. Pretty decent game as well. If you haven't actually played this, it's definitely one that's worth kind of getting. Here comes the boom. Yeah, really, really fun game to play. But yeah, frame rate wise, 120, 130 frames per second. So pretty decent at 1440p on the Ultra setting. Okay, so next game, Apex Legends. Just to go through the settings again, we're at 1440p. We're looking at pretty much everything is set to, again, what the game's kind of suggested. So most things are either enabled or on high. Obviously, the only thing that is disabled, just out of sort of habit, is VSync. We want to see what this game, I guess, on this system can really do. So let's get into a game. Okay, Apex. So just in the sky, we're looking at 80 frames per second. So just roaming around looking for some loot, we're getting 125 frames per second, more than playable at 1440p. Obviously the monitor that I am using this on is actually a 144 Hz, so this game is really perfect for that. So yeah, in firefights and that, we're getting sort of, you know, dropping down to about 110, 115 frames per second, but while we're just sort of roaming around, 130. So yeah, pretty decent frame rates, especially on the settings that we're using at 1440p. So there you have it, guys. As you can see, this system performs absolutely amazing. And in my personal opinion, it looks amazing as well. Obviously the Thermaltake V200 chassis with them RGB fans at the front just really gives it that, I don't know, kind of premium gamer-esque look. Now, in terms of kind of future expandability, this system does have quite a lot of scope for it. You could always add in extra memory, you could update the CPU cooler, you could even change the M.2 drive to an NVMe drive just for extra performance at a later date, if it's not giving you the results that you want in the games that you're looking to play. Other than that, the motherboard is pretty much sorted. The only thing maybe you could change at a later date if you wanted to say, maybe go for a more powerful graphics card, you may have to look at changing the power supply from a 500 watt, maybe to something just a little bit beefier. But there you have it, £1,000 or $1,100, however you want to see it. Is this the sort of spec that you'd go for if you were looking at building a system based around that price point? Let me know in the comments section below. Other than that, you guys know exactly what to do. Leave us a big thumbs up and I will see you in the next one. See you later. Bye-bye. It's a 6-core 12-thread there. Coupled in with that, we have bleh. Add a little bit more money into this and I just spat. You will find that they are very similarly priced. Similarly, I can't even say that word.